Hey people, back in August 28th, 1963, Martin Luther King says, I have a dream that all men were created equal. And if you believe that, raise your hand and then slap yourself repeatedly until you wake up. He wasn't the first one that said this. It come from Thomas Jefferson, and he was trying to get it from a more ancient interpretation from the Latin. And it goes way back thousands of years ago. Pope Gregory, Pope King of the Earth is what Gregory means. They say he was the first one that said it. But there's a terrible problem there. There's no truth to it. In fact, it's sacrilegious. It's received criticism from slave owners, they say. Not a word of truth in the phrase. And not a self-evident truth, but a self-evident lie. These men were all slave owners and supporters of slavery. But that's the whole idea of that Latin, so they could hide their magic spells and get people to participate unknowingly. But it plainly says, even in the King James Version, that man was created on the sixth day. And it's right here in 6, and God said, let us make a man in our image. He's going to make this one in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle of the earth, over every creepy thing that creeps on the earth. So God created man in his own image, sent them on to be fruitful and multiply, replenish, subdue, and have dominion. And that Greek word for that is the lordship. And then on the 7th day he had rested. And then he woke up on the 8th day, and he said, I'm going to plant me a garden. But no man was no around. Wasn't no man to till the ground. Well, he done made this man to dominate over everything. He didn't have a man to till the ground. So God formed a man from dust of the ground. He breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And you'll see this in the same word they say is soul. This is soul man here. And man became a living soul. So the Greek word for that, a man to work the earth is a negro. And it's, upon the color. They say this is green and it's not. They get that from the word chlorophyll. And they're trying to say that the chlor is the green and it fills the plant, but they're wrong. The chlor is the color. And the fill is of ill. When you're sick, you're green. The ill is the green part, not the chlor. This is the color. And upon the color, a negro, the agriculture. This is, I tell you all these A words read backwards. They read both ways. In fact, they read several ways. There's several different ways to read this. And it's where your word organic come from, O-R-G-A. And when you read it back the other way, the G after the N will become an A or N, in the organ. They say that, organic comes from the word organ, meaning organism. And so what's in the field, is the organism. And who's working in the field? And upon the color of a negro. And a prot of, this means brought of, like B-R-O-U-G-H-T. Except when you bring a word from the past language, it is prot of. You brought it from the old language. This is from the ancient language. And upon the color a negro brought of gives they epithages. Epithages are like stereotypes. It's a list of things that goes with the word. So when you see a word, you know all the meanings behind it. And upon the short on negro, brought of on a tile. And they get the rising from ana, they say is rising. It's actually coming from this hill, H-I-L here. You see it in many words without the ana. But it's to entile somebody, to give them the rights to it, and on a tile of jar. So a jar is a spear, and of the jar ever it's in carry as. And so he's a war man. The audios, they said in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. It's a It's an audio. This is a OTE. OTE or ODEOS. And it fits a whole bunch of words that mean word or writing. It's where your word notes come from. You'll see it most of the time as NOTE, the note. And the audios and the words, if a tinge in, the stain, and wonder. And so anthropon is not a man, anthropos, it's not a man, these are epithages. And so this word fits. This is what a man does, not a man. And everything a man does, well, he wander, W-A-N-D, the wander of as. And when you see it doubled up, it's a man. What's he say? It's a man's rules, andropon. And it means and roof as under, and you're under my roof, you're going to follow my rules. And the roof is under is as. And in many different ways this word comes together. It doesn't mean man, it means the things that are typical from a man. A typical man is epithages. And of can urges a stay. If you have work for the people, it's to urge is to stay. Is there any work here for us? If not, we got to go on. Urges to stay. And it reads several times. Sometimes this is the V, the verges. And it's of sev, S-C-E-V, severages this day. And do you have any severance pay? What kind of severance pay goes with this job? It's not there wasn't no man to work it, but this man done got unionized, So a place in, and we place notice, the noticed on. A place and noticed on means get the hell out. If you're no longer working in my fields, you're not staying in my building. It's time to move out. And we place a notice on. This is where your word plastic comes from. He's a shapeable man, the kind of man that can be shaped by what he sees on TV. And we place in a noticed on under a poncho. Under a poncho. You will be out there in the rain, out there in the dust, hiding under your poncho. So these Negros were Spanish. They were Mexican, under a poncho. And when you read that A word the other way, and it's still the things of a man would do. The double N here this is reading as any, and affording, O-F-O-R-D-N, and affording, something, and anything he can afford, he wants it, any affording, and any affording a nacho, the nacho win. And everything about this word lets you know that they were Hispanic. And when I love a nap of this, that's the Mexicans. They up underneath the tree, hiding under that poncho, sleeping in the field, and they done got notice and placed the notice on them. And loving a nap of this gist. Gist is the place, is a location, not just the earth, but a place on earth. And we've refusing his to force upon. And he breathed into his face. No, this is Sergeant Slaughter up in your face, hollering, spitting. Get your fucking ass up and go to work, and breathe into his face the breath of life. He will get his ass up and go to work. And we've a fuse of his to force upon of two of knowinzos, the ones that's knowing, of UF of and knowinzos. Knowins you owes, O-E-S, you owe your life to. The oxygen is where that comes from, which you owes. And we give to of under oppose or as offered on is his accepts. He accepts which in. This man accepts which in a soul. Accepts which ends is on. So this means this man's got a soul. The other man didn't get a soul. This is soul man. This is black man. And then over here in Genesis 1, this first man, and wise in, this is Y, W-I-E-S-E, wisey notice. What he saw, he noticed. And so I found this in this ancient book, and I found it right here. I'm going to show you. At Google Books, it's free. And if I don't leave a link to it below here, holler at me and make sure I do. But I was looking for the W-E-I-F-E. The P is a P or F. And I found it here in this old English-German dictionary. Right here. A W-I-E. And it's the F. And you can tell by, if you go down and follow the letters, you can tell that this is the F and not the S. And it's pronounced as a S. You can see by the meanings of it. It means wise and wiser, a wise man. And so this is where your word hippies come from. Hip. If you hip, you know it. And hipping and knowing. And wise. And then notice the fees. The O-I reads as a E, and the H reads as a E. That's the F-E-E. The fees of men. The works of men. What it takes to get this. Does it take money or work or whatever? However you get it. And wise in, notice the feesum in a andropon cat. The man cat. What is a man? Well, a cat man is a man with a cat head. So a man cat is a cat with a man head. The andropon cat. They say this is according to, and you see according to up here, cat. According to the type, is the catagen. If you're writing a book and categorizing everything on Earth, that's what you would call what you're doing. You're catagen. You're making the catalog. You're catagenized in according to, and all the beasts according to their type. But this man here, wise and notices the fees of men under a phone, a cat, the cat icon. According to the image of the cat icon. Talking about the Sphinx. A cat with a man face. The cat icon. Committer on. And catch. And catch 'em. And the O-I is the E. And the catch. This is the cat home. But this is the catch. The catch 'em has in. According to the likeness. So he's talking about the likeness of God. And so this is all the things that God does. Wise in and notice the fees of men, and under upon the cat icon, the committer on and catch 'em as in. And our cheetah, a cheetah, that's the cat, the cheetah's on, and let them control. Who controls the fishes of the sea and the winged creatures of the heaven and the cattle and the reptiles? There's only two things on earth that can deal with all that, and that's the Cajun man and the cat. The cat dominates. And you see here, when he made them, and the fees in notice tis it on, and under a phone the cat icon, at how the fees in oughtn't and should not burn the arson, and tell we fees in of to us. And who, EU is who, and who a log to writes the book. The log is in of to us audios, the sounds. And so back before this languages, in the Hebrew, the Lord is Jew, and it means a number, it means a value, a Jew. When I was a kid, my parents were French, and my neighbors were German, and they weren't prejudiced. They weren't real prejudiced. It was nice to everybody, but when they said Jew, it always followed that goddamn Jew. And so people who claim to be Jews, they don't know what Jew means. But Jew come from the old language, and you look it up where the word Jew comes from, and it means praise, to appraise. And when a Jew comes up, the Jew is that amount of money that you're going to get cheated out of. If you want 800 for it and you end up taking 400 for it, the Jew was $400. That's a Jew. And who log has in of to us the audios. So the log is now in audios. In the Hebrew it was in numbers. Now it's in words, sounds. Not words, but sounds. And none of these are words. These are all sounds pieced together. And the log has in of to us of audios a legion knots, the legion knots of vest. And plethen, and they got multiply and fill backwards, and deplete, plete is to deplete, and complete, is a fill level. And a plural, plural is a multiplication. The multiply is over here, and they'll flip every word in the Bible. Every time it comes up, they'll do this. And the pluricate it engine, the earth is what's turning. Ain't no flat earth, it's a ball earth, and the earth is the engine that causes the days, that causes everything. And a catechurgusate. And so this is the first time you see the word Lord come up. It's right here, K-U-R-I-E. This is the word for Lord all throughout the Greek. And kata, and according to the Lord who's at. It means there's more than one Lord. Wherever the sun's sitting, wherever the moon's sitting, is telling you, and we'll do this according to this Lord who's at. Of this, where cheated on, cheated on, itch to on. Itch to on is a fingernail, and a itch to on is a cat's fingernail. It's an ancient fish hook. And are cheated, and they are cheated on when it comes to fishing. They're catching all the fish. And this adalysis, this is following seas. When you pet your cat, and he's loving, and he raises up his tail, and it feels like you're surfing. He's a wave pushing your hand down. That's what this is. This is epithages. It has a bunch of meanings, but it comes from Thala. Thala was the Greek god of comedy, the smiley face in theater of Thales, and the double S here turns this into Y-E-S, love. Y-E-S, yes is love. Same thing in Hebrew, except it'll be spelled different. It's spelled with any double letter. And then a A-E is a E-S. And so you won't see it. But they will say it means loves, but that's the real pronunciation is yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Love. And so the Thalys is yes, it's the name of your boat that's real expensive. It's the name of your girlfriend. It's what your wife calls your expensive girlfriend. And the Thalys is everything good, following seas, likes everything and loves. The Thalys, yes, and the following seas loves what on pet hind on. When you pet the hind on, they're loving it. They're pushing the hand down. To vor and of, to watching upon. And between here and the Hebrew, it says cat 10 different ways. And you can see, and God has, behold, I have given you. It's the same as the Greek word. It's the E-N-E is reading as an E-V-E. And have in, the N read as an N here because it doesn't have the E following it. And have in tie, the double T is a T-I. Entile come. And have entile come. Have entitlement. And this man, he got everything to eat. There wasn't nothing. There wasn't no tree in the middle of the garden that he couldn't have. He got all seed, all beast, everything on earth. That's a Cajun, going to eat everything. And it was right here, and said God, let bring forth the earth and the creature living according to its kind, the livestock and the creepy thing, the white, W-H-I-T. W-A-R-X, the white works. The beast of the earth is the white works. And white, they'll put this in the same category as this most of the time. Spelt with the WH or the WE, either way. The white works. And of the limb of who, yea. Of yea is, I would like. Would like, yea means would like. And why the hyphen is to speed it up. And when you read it with the markings, it's why, hence, from this time forward. According to his kind, the livestock and the creepy things, the white works of limb in who, why, hence. So I've been reading the past month. I just had a computer crash last night and I lost all my work, so I figure I better start making my movies and quit trying to save up materials. But I learned a bunch, and I'm going to spit a couple movies out real quick here. But let me go over some questions. Nicholas Adams says, have you considered writing down your translations? Would very much enjoy reading it. And so the book's already written. I'm trying to show the pronunciations to piece all the words, because they're not words, they're just audios, they're pieces of words. And I'm trying to show the pronunciations, and I really couldn't do it. I wouldn't know how to spell the pronunciations. It's old words that I've heard from old folks in old movies and stuff mostly. I wouldn't have a clue as the correct spelling. But I just hope that I can wake up the right person that would know how to do that. Maximilian says, do you have an email? And I don't post it up anywhere, but if you look underneath my movie in the description, you see a link to the PayPal donations. And if you drop $2 in there, I don't know how the PayPal works anymore. It was a real good deal when I started it 15 years ago. I had credit cards for the kids. It worked out real good, but I don't know how it works out now. But if you hit that and drop $2 in there, I'll send you back a thank you, and then you'll have my email. Anybody who just wants to donate, I've been doing this about 10 years. I really haven't worked much. I just try to survive. I live in poverty. I'm just trying to figure this language out before I die. So I won't refuse any donations. Thank you very much. And to the people who have donated, thank you. And he also asked twice about finishing off this Ramiel movies. And I tell you, Ramiel is the God of the first and second page of the Bible. It's the God of the recipes. That's code word for the recipes. And I'll get into that in the next couple movies. And Acadia A Drive says, could you please get to your point? And so the point in every movie, the point is that they've been lying to you and people are sleeping. Nobody woke up and even looked the first time at the Greek or the Hebrew language. And I've proved that in every movie. And I'm just trying, it's just trying to teach you how to read the language is the point. That's the point I'm trying to get to. And Farrah Abadai had questioned me on my email, and he's got my email that tells me he must have donated sometime. And he says, can you make a video on the meaning of the first 7 verses of the Quran? And very helpfully, he sent me the first 7 verses and also sent me a letter chart. And I remember looking into this years ago, and the alphabet is so corruptible that I seen that I didn't want to waste too much time, because a bug could have walked by and left a spot and changed the meaning of anything. Now, all the letters have many vowel points that are just a simple dot. Real corruptible language. But when I looked into it, first I read the story about it. And the story was the man that wrote it, the first thing he said was he could not recite. They don't know if that means could not read or write or could not talk. But they also said that this man was a traveling salesman. If he's a traveling salesman, he can read and write and he can talk. This it's just like the Bible story. It makes no sense. It's all designed to get you to wake up. They're just hollering loud. It seems like the louder they holler at you, the deeper a sleep you fall into. And it's the same thing. And so if you look into it, you see that An angel met him, and he wrote a verse every night in a cave with the angels. But he was a traveling salesman. And then after he died, a brother-in-law went and got all his papers, and a list of people had helped put all this together. And when you start reading the list of the names that put all this together, the names were I've been with a man and shit like that. It's the same thing as the Bible. It come off the bathroom wall. This traveling salesman traveled around at whorehouses and public bathrooms, and he read jokes off the bathroom wall. That's what this book's about, and that's what Koran means. And you see it at the beginning of Corinthians, the Koran, the Corinthians, the book 1 and book 2. They both start the same way. A little bit of difference right here. The clitus isn't in there. But that's what it's talking about. It's talking about Paulus clitus. The Paulus clitus opposed all as cries to yes of. The cries to yes of is love. Yes, oh yes. It's the secret 4-letter name of God. Yes, oh, yes, oh. And it's the ancient God of childbirth and love in the old language. Your kids ask you in the morning, who is Mama hollering to? Who is yes? Oh, yes, oh, yes. Who is yes, oh? Who is yes, oh? Who is Jesus? Jesus is love, yes, loves of. And do tell them. And do tell them it as. And this is the God of pain. This is the God of pain when this is the God that speaks in your head when you stick your hand in the fire and something in your head tells you to pull your hand out. Ouch. This is the God of pain. This is where thou shalt not. Ow. O-W. Ow. Ow. The ow. That hurts. The ow. And do tell him it as the ow. And was a stennis. Was a stennis. A stennis is a coded writing. Sten. And was a stennis of a idle cause. A worthy idle. A worthy cause. And to code writings to a worthy cause, because you don't want to tell your children what yes, oh really means. And then you see right here in the next line, both these books, Corinthians 1st and 2nd. And it's the, T-H-E, the. And anybody who reads this as Ecclesiastes, like all your ecclesiastics, all your church, that just means that they have no idea how to read this. But this is a C-I-L-E-S, Celeste. And the Celeste in the I-A reading is a U, what of. And the solic, what of God? They solicit God. And the solicit, what of the outhouse? O, the, T-H-E-O-U-T-H-O-U-S-E. The outhouse in Koran, in the Quran. And so this is where your word current comes from. The current. And so that's where people used to go get their news. They went to the public outhouse and they looked on the wall. But this is also where prostitutes, even up into the 70s, I don't know if I haven't been to a public bathroom in a while, but yeah, for thousands of years, prostitutes would go to the public bathrooms and they would take their lipstick and they would write a big set of lips on the wall that was Egyptian for pros, the push, the pushing, the pros, the promotion, you know, pushing something, the pros, a big red lipstick. And she would give you her number, her house number. And so they would do this at the outhouse. And the solicit of the outhouse in current. And so that's where, the current happenings. That's where you get it in your newspapers. A lot of newspapers are called the current, what's happening today. The outhouse in current. And so that's where the Koran comes from, and that's where most of the Bible comes from. It's all jokes off the bathroom wall. The house of God, the church of God, is the solicit of the outhouse in Corinth. And sad my computer froze up some. I lost a bunch of stuff last night. I found some good stuff in Acts I wanted to read to you. But I can't backtrack through it now because it forgot all my old history here. But I'm going to read some of this Corinthians to you, and it explains perfectly well about what Paul and cries to yes of. Cries to yes of. And you see these arrows here, and that's telling you that sometimes this is turned around the other way. So some Bibles, this is all backwards. This and this is the other way. And so when you read it, it's the solicit of the OU and then over here. And it's the ow, the ow, the hurts, the owage, and IA is a U. W was. The owage was a menace, was a problem. And the owage was a menace in a cries to yes of, and then you see this goes back and reads over here now. And so you still, the OU, the outhouse, the outhouse, and yes, outhouse in Corinth. And it reads just about the same in the second book, but it's all the Bibles are written the same, so this doesn't shift. But yeah, the point of this movie is they lied to you about everything because you cannot govern a wise population, and we're not all created equal. Some people have the cat in them, and a cat is a curiosity. A dog is going to do what you tell him, and the cat is going to sneeze at you. The cat dominates, according to a cure. The curie, he's curious. He wants to know. Some of us just want to know. We don't just take the word for it. We investigate. And that's where the word Lord and curious, you find that all together. The Curious Act. And so they know that all men weren't created equal. And 99% of the people are just sheep, and they have no clue, and they just hope that they don't get beaten too bad. And the lords of the earth, the people in the know, they're running everything. They try to manipulate everything here. They're trying to keep everything in balance. You have to keep all in perfect balance. Keep everybody fighting, because once you stop fighting, once there's no more war, people have too much time to think, and they don't want people thinking. I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.